सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। चैतन्यं सर्वगं सर्वं सर्वभूतगुहाशयम् यत्सर्वविषयातीतं तस्मै सर्वविदे नमः। वाच्यभेदात् तु तद्भेदः कल्प्यो वाच्योऽपि तच्छ्रुतेः त्रयं त्वेतत्ततः प्रोक्तम् रूपं नाम च कर्म च। ननु आत्मनः ब्रह्मणश्च एकत्वज्ञानम् अनुपन्नम्। All right, the Siddhanti says that the Ekavakyata, one theme discussed in the entire Veda, and there is Atma Jnanam, Brahmatmaikya Jnanam, knowledge of the identity of Atma and Brahma, that I am Brahman, what is Brahman. To communicate this is the primary agenda of the Veda. Ekavakyatva means in all sections this agenda is conveyed. Not that some other agenda is conveyed, say in Karma Kanda, some other in Upasana Kanda, some other in Jnana Kanda. In Samhita there are 4 sections supposedly. Samhita, Mantra Vibhaga, then Brahmana, which can be divided into Karma Kanda, Upasana, Upanishad. Not that these sections have different topics. They have different things to convey with only one theme in mind, and that is Jiva Brahma Aikyam. So what is the theme that the Vedas have? That's called Ekavakyata. Jnanikaatha Paratvatam. Jnana Eka Artha Paratvat. Paratvam being devoted to, committed to. Eka Artha, one Artha, one subject matter, one theme. Jnana. Jnanam or knowledge is the one theme, one message that is to be seen in the Vedas. Tam Vakyam Ekam Tato Viduhu, therefore, the wise say that the whole Veda is one Vakya, Eka Vakya. What is meant by Eka Vakya is that if there are more than one meanings available to one passage, when one text conveys more than one thing, then there are many vakyas, many themes, many things conveyed there. But the entire Veda is one vakya, meaning throughout committed to only one, and that is the Jnana Ekatha Paratvam. That's how Bhashyakara begins Bhagavad Gita. That this Ekam Vakyam, that Atma Jnana Nishtha is the subject matter of Bhagavad Gita. And because that is the means of moksha, and moksha is what every human being is seeking, cessation of all the sorrow and attainment of unsurpassable happiness. This is what human being wants, and that's what the scripture should tell you. That's called moksha. And that the cessation or absence of unhappiness and presence, nothing but happiness, is only nature of self. Therefore, self is what every human being is seeking. And since self is already there, therefore, is already attained, what creates the notion that it is not attained is ignorance. Now, despairing of ignorance is the purpose of scriptures, of Vedas, in the Bhagavad Gita also. What's the role of karma? Karma is to help prepare the ground for knowledge. So this is how the Vedantins have expounded the Tatparya. Upakrama, Upasamaha. So by the Shadlinga you arrive at the Tatparya, the purport. What is it that the text wants to convey? If people don't agree with that, they don't like this. By doing this, you are dismissing everything else, but we are not. There is no place of bhakti. Everything has a place. Karma has a place, bhakti has a place, yoga has a place. Everything has a place. But not independent place. Not that Bhagavad Gita prescribes karma yoga as one path and bhakti yoga as a path and karaj yoga as third path and jnana yoga as fourth path. That is not Ekavakya. And if Bhagavad Gita is supposed to be the essence of Samagra Vedas, then it has to be the same thing. So understand where the Vedantic teachers are coming from. Not to dismiss somebody, but recognition of what it is that a human being is seeking. Where is it that you are seeking? That is self, already attained. And that self-knowledge is the primary means, ultimate means. And karma, bhakti, yoga, everything has its place in facilitating the self-knowledge. Here also. So Veda is Ekavakyata. Karma kanda, upasana kanda, jnana kanda is Ekavakyata. All of them are either directly or indirectly. The Jnana Kanda directly talks about Aikya Jnanam. The Karma, Upasana indirectly talk about that or indirectly lead to that. Now, both these things are going to talk about. One is that Ham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi. Where Tat stands for Brahma, Tvam stands for Atma. So when Brahma and Atma are different words conveying different meanings, how can there be knowledge of oneness when the two things are different? Knowledge of oneness can be there provided oneness is a reality. If Brahman and Atma, why are you using different words? Why should you use different words for ghata and pata, pot and cloth? Why? If they are one entity, why are you using different words? The fact that different words are used means that they are different entities. And we see that in Vyavahara also, that each one has its own use. So, there is Nama, Rupa, Kriya is different. Everything is a one form, one name, one purpose, one utility. How can it be all one? When the difference is very evident, how can you say it is one? Had that been one, why are different words being used to describe different things? If Brahma and Atma were one, why are these two words, or Jiva and Brahma were one? Why the word Jiva and Brahma? Why these two words are used? The fact that therefore the meanings are different. That's the argument. Vachya Veda Tad Veda Kalpya. Because Jiva means one thing and Brahman means another thing. Therefore, Brahman, Jiva and Brahman are different words and conveying different things. But how do you say that? Because Jiva is one word, Brahman is a different word, therefore they must convey different things. So what they convey is different. And because you understand something is Jiva, something is Brahma, Vachya, and therefore the words also are different. The Ghata and Pata. Ghata means something which has one name, form in use, and Pata is different. Therefore, Ghata and Pata are different because had they not been different, why are the Vachyartha? The entities were not different, then why are different words used? Padartha, Pada and Artha. Pada means word, Artha means what the word stands for. So Ghata Pada Padartha. This object Ghata Pada. And word Ghata Pada is Pada. Because two different Padas or words are there, the Padas are also different. So, Vachya Bheda, because it is taken for granted that the object Ghata and object Pata are different, therefore the words Ghata Pata are different. And because words Ghata Pata are different, therefore objects Ghata Pata are different. See, objects are Vachya. Vachya Bheda Tad Bheda Kalpya. Word is Ghata, Vachya is object Ghata. Other word is Pata, Vachya is object Pata. They are different. Therefore, the words Ghata and Pata are different. And words Ghata and Pata are different. That's where you hear. Therefore, the object must be different. How do you say that the object Ghata and Pata are different? Because words Ghata and Pata are different. Why do you say words Ghata and Pata are different? Because object Ghata Pata are different. To establish the duality of the words Ghata and Pata, you must first accept the duality of object Ghata Pata. And to accept the established duality of object Ghata Pata, you must accept the duality of the word Ghata Pata. Because word Ghata doesn't stand apart from the object Ghata. When you utter the word Ghata, the object Ghata has to occur in your mind. It cannot stand apart from the object Ghata. And word Pata Ghata, and the object doesn't stand apart from word. Word does not apart from object. So independently, can you think of Ghata? If you can think of the word of the Ghata, independent of object Ghata, and Pata, then you can say that the Vachya, are different. Or if you think of the object Ghata here, when you see, if the corresponding word does not arise in your mind, then you can say this is independent. Pada and Padartha, Vachyartha, and the word Shabda. So they are dependent upon each other. Therefore, the conclusion about one is drawn because of conclusion about other, and conclusion of other is drawn because of so independently you cannot say word ghata and pata are different, and therefore the objects ghata pata are different, or objects are different, the words are different. Vachya bheda tad bheda kalpya. Because of bheda that you have taken for granted that ghata is one thing, pata is different thing, you always accepted that. Therefore you say that word ghata is different word pata. When you accepted that word ghata is different from the word pata, therefore you say that the object ghata is different word object pata. See, this we have to see how we are naturally living our life based on assumptions. Nobody's fault. The whole vyavahara is based on these assumptions, and then vyavahara is real for us. Therefore, assumptions also assume reality. That these words and objects have some kind of vyavaharic reality accept, and therefore they have some difference. At some level, the word ghatapata are different. At some level, object ghatapata are different. Accept it. It's called vyavaharika level. To say they are different, swarupatah. That is a conclusion drawn from a superficial understanding, not from the basic understanding. Therefore, Shabda Bheda, that Jiva and Brahman, the entity Jiva and Brahman are different because the words Jiva and Brahman are different. And the words Jiva and Brahman are different. Entities, you take, what is Jiva, you know. I know what is Brahman. Because what you think you know, therefore these two are different. Therefore the words Jiva and Brahma are different. And Jiva and Pranadhana, Brahma is Jagat Kalam, I know they are different. Therefore the entities are different. Tatha siddhe vacha jiva brahma vede tad vachaka sabdyo apariyatva siddhi. Accepting a jiva is different, I know, Brahma is different. Therefore, the words jiva and Brahma are not pariyaya, they don't mean the same thing, they are different, apariyaya. I know that word jiva and Brahma are different, they are derivative in every way, therefore, the object jiva and Brahma are different. So, as you perceive them superficially, we accept that. Swarupatah bheda kalpanayam pramana abhavat. Swarupatah. Jiva, what is Swarupatah? Brahma, Swarupatah. Even Ghata and Pata, Swarupatah. Asti Bhadi Priyam, Swarupatah. So Asti Bhadi Priyam in Brahman. So Swarupatah, Bheda Kalpanayam, Pramana Abhava. From the standpoint of the essential nature, there is no validity for Kalpana, for imagining that they are different. No, this is discussed because words have very powerful impact upon us. Word jiva means something. I know who I am. And this is what it is, accepted. And then everything proceeds from there. I know what Bhagavan is, and proceeds from there. There is no disrespecting Bhagavan. That's what people conclude, you know. Vedanta is no respect and no reverence for. It's not that. Swarupatah. So at the level of Vyavahara is all accepted, karma is accepted, upasana, bhakti is accepted, yoga is accepted. Swarupatah. Veda kalpanayam pramana abhavat. Vedasya pramanikatvat ekatvajna anupannam ityukte. So, upannam ityukte vedasya pramana siddhatam. So, vedasya pramanikatvat etvajnanam upannam. Because Veda, the duality, doesn't have pramanam, neither Shastra nor your own self also. Vedasya pramana. Then Purva says Veda is already pramana siddha. Veda itself says that Bheda is there. Now they are quoting this, they could quote in many other statements. They say Dvasuparna Sayuja Sakhaya. Upanishad itself says there are two birds. Or Trayam Vaidam Nam Rupam Karma. Yeah, this is threefold. Nama, Rupa and Karma, they are all different from each other and each one possesses the three aspects and therefore they are different. That's what the Upanishad says. Tataha Atmana Atiriktam Rupam Namacha Karmacha Proktam Idam. This universe is Nama Rupa Karma, different from Atma. It is stated there. Ataha Anekatvam eva Vedartha. Therefore, Veda that doesn't say that there is one, there is unity in diversity. There is diversity. Then you say in the next verse, Asadeta, that because this Nama cannot stand apart from Rupa. Now we come to Ghatapata. The word Ghata cannot stand apart from the Rupa Ghata. And the Rupa Ghata cannot stand apart from the word Ghata. And the Kriya depends upon Nama Rupa. Kriya doesn't have an independent standing because action always requires an ashraya, a locus. Anyonya sapeksha siddhikam. Each one requires other in order for it to exist. Rupa requires Nama for it to exist because we cannot think of Rupa without Nama. Nama requires Rupa for it to exist, or to declare that I am. Rupa can declare I am only when Nama is there, and Nama can declare its existence, Rupa is there, and Kriya can declare even Nama Rupa are there. Anyonya sapeksha siddhikam. Vedanta says sapeksham mein mithya. Only truth can be nirapeksham. You say, this is truth at that place in time. Let's go sapeksha. I say this to some people here. That is sapeksha. Truth has to stand the test of time, place and condition, then it is called truth. So from one standpoint is one thing, other standpoint something else, then it is sapeksham. Tasmad asad iti. Then why does Shruti talk about this? Yatha kathanchit loka siddho mithya vedaha shrutya anudyate. This trayam va idam nama rupam karma. Because people take them to be different and therefore the anuvada, you begin from there and let people see, make people see what is involved there. So you have to start with what is generally accepted. Why should we even talk of Jiva Brahma Aikya? Because people take them to be different, therefore. Why should you say anything? Because already some notions exist. So begin from that notion. Oh, I am so and so. You begin from there and then let him see whether that so and so is justifiable or not. Therefore, the Shruti begins with the notion of people, Nama Rupa Karma, to help you see what they stand for. One explanation of this verse. Continuing, Athava. So, Vachya Bheda, Tatso Bheda, there are two ways that this is here. One is that the Vedas are teaching the identity of Jiva and Brahma, that is Ekavakyata. Or Veda is one Vakya, as you said, Karma Kanda, Upasana Kanda, Jnana Kanda is one Vakya. That is also one Vakya, Ekavakyata. So, Ekavakyata meaning the identity of Jiva and Brahma was one interpretation according to this verse. Ekavakyata means one theme in all the entire Veda is also, that's how that verse also can be understood. Therefore, Tikas Athava, This Trayam va idam now rupam karma will apply to both of them. Katham sarvasya vedasya ekartha jnana paratvena ekavakyatvam niyantam shakyate. Did you claim that the entire Veda is devoted to ekartha jnana paratvena? The entire Veda is devoted to only conveying the knowledge, jnanam. And that is why ekavakyata is there. There is one theme, it's one text, continuous text. There are no breaks in chapters, etc. Ekavakyatam niyantam shakyate. So how do you niyantam? How do you arrive at this niyam, conclusion? That the entire Veda is ekavakyata. Now, aparyaya, apunarakta, shabda bhedavashat. Aparyaya, there because jiva brahma aikyam, therefore, jiva brahma, what is aparyaya? They are not synonyms, that is how the discussion started. Here, apunarakta shabda bhedavashat. Karma kanda says one shabda, jnana kanda means another shabda. So, shabda bhedavashat. Punarukti, the same word is repeated, then it's one thing, but then two things are repeated, two themes are repeated. I mean, they're different. Therefore, how can you say that both of them, one is karma, other is jnanam? How do you say that they convey the same thing? Tatra arthabedasya pratiyamanatvat. One talks about karma, effort, accomplishing what is not accomplished. Other one talks about jnanam, accomplishing what is already accomplished. And therefore, arthabedasya pratiyamanatvat. These two sections seem to convey different things. Karma is the means of accomplishing what is not accomplished. And jnanam is means of accomplishing what is accomplished. So therefore, we see two different artha vedasya pratiyamanatvat to us. These two sections seem to convey two different goals or two different themes, purposes. So we will address this. Just as it is understandable that the word Jiva and Brahma will create this question, how can they be one? Then why are two different words used? Similarly, why two different processes are there? Karma is one process, jnana is another process. So we see two processes. And karma is not repeated in the jnana section, therefore apunarakta shabda bhedavasad. To us, therefore, these two appear as different. Iti ched. Satyam, you are right. That karma kanda is one process, jnana kanda is another process, you are right. We can't deny that. Tathapi, even then. Tatra tatparyam yuktam, na tatra tatparyam yuktam. Even though two processes appear to be described in these two sections still, it is not proper that the Vedas may have two tatparya, that there are two different themes, two independent things conveyed by Veda, which are not related to each other. What is meant by two is that one is not related to other. We do not say karma is not one process, jnana is not other. We don't say that. We say that they are not related. Each one accomplishes a different goal. Tatra tatparam na yuktam. Vedas cannot talk about more than one goal of life and say that both of them give the same fulfillment. That Vedas cannot do. That process called karma also accomplishes fulfillment in your life. And process of jnanam also accomplishes fulfillment in your life, if this is what you mean by anekavakyata. So that cannot be. Processes can be different, but what they accomplish cannot be different. So Vedas cannot tatparyam. In that what is accomplished by karma is different what is accomplished by jnanam. That tatparya Veda cannot have. pramana yukti bhaditatvat. Because that conclusion will be negated bhaditam by pramanam, by Vedas themselves, and yukti in the reasoning. Dvaitasya iti, then you accept dvaita. Meaning, if what karma accomplishes is also real, and jnana is also real, then two real things mean dvaita. Then dvaitasya bhaditatva dvaitasya, but then this dvaita is bhaditam, is negated by the Vedas themselves. Therefore, the dvaita which appears to be a vachyartha, the karma kanda, one process leads to something that is vachyartha. Jnana kanda, different process, different vachyartha. And therefore, there are two different independent themes conveyed by Vedas, where one goal is different from the other goal. Then one text cannot do that, because what is it that you will do? What will a mumuksha do? Not only that, but then Vedas themselves negate the difference between what the karma accomplishes and what the jnana accomplishes. What karma accomplishes svarga according to one interpretation, what jnana accomplishes moksha, and that both are equal. If this is, then this is the Veda. What karma accomplishes antahakana shuddhi, and what jnana accomplishes knowledge, then there is compatibility. If they are incompatible with each other, then there is Veda. Compatible, there is no Veda. Because that incompatibility is negated by Vedas themselves. And so again, same verse is there. Vachya Veda tad Veda kalpya. So same verse is now interpreted in explaining how the entire Veda is ekvakya. Vachya Vede pramanike sati tad vishaya tatparyavat Shabda Vedat aneka vakyata siddhati. Yes. If Sarga is different, what karma accomplishes is different from what jnana accomplishes. If that is first accepted, then karma and jnana are different. And karma and jnana are different, you accept, then what they accomplish also is different. To say that karma accomplishes one thing is different from what jnana accomplishes, for that you must think that karma is totally different of jnana. And karma is different from jnana. To arrive at that conclusion, what karma accomplishes is one thing from what jnana accomplishes. You understand what I am saying, So tadmya vachya vedopi tashrute vachika vedashrute shravanat kalpya. It is true that words are different, processes are different, and that superficial difference is accepted as real difference, then yes, you have to say that the Vedas are the two different themes. And there are two different things, therefore the karma and jnana are two different processes. But then, now coming to more fundamental thing, nahi shabdadhinaha artha tattva nishchayaha. The artha cannot necessarily be determined by shabda. Ghata, pata, matha, shabda. And artha, what the objects they stand for, are necessarily different. Nahi shabdadhinaha. Shabda cannot determine what the meaning is. Meaning the meaning is not determined by the word. Vedantin says. Why? Aropita vishayepi shabda veda darshanat. Now you have different shabdas. What is Sarpa? Bhuchidra, Mala, snake, garland, break, crack in the earth, a stick, different words are there, isn't it? Shabda Vedat, that doesn't mean that the what they convey is different because Aropita, Vishayapi, Shabda Vedasanat. Shabda Veda, that difference in words, exists also when the entities are projected. So Sarpa is one, Rajju, Mala is another one, Bhuchidra is third one, Danda is the fourth one. So the different words exist. That doesn't mean they convey different meaning because these all words only are projected. They only talk about entities that are projected, not real entities. So if you show that every word does that, let us say, then a word does not convey, difference in word does not convey different meaning. There is no rule. The different words convey different meanings, no rule because the words can be referring to Aropita, what is projected, and therefore this Sarpa and Mala and Bhuchidra, etc., even though the words are different, there is no rule that they convey different things, different meanings. Napi Arthadina Shabdanishaya. Nor can we determine that the Shabda is different, Artha is different. Meaning, the Shabda cannot be arrived at from Artha. Artha cannot be arrived at Shabda because Shabdas can be different, Artha may not be different. Nor the Shabda Nishchaya. Because Arthas are different, therefore Shabdas are different. Because Arthas are different, entities are different. That also you cannot, because Ekasminu Purushe, Pita, Bhrata, Matula, Jamata, Pita, Ityadi, Umadi Vedat, Apunadak Shabda Vedasanat. For one person alone, his father, brother, maternal uncle, son-in-law, paternal uncle, same fellow is called. Therefore, Arthadina, Shabda Nishya, Artha is this person. From that you cannot arrive at Shabda because so many Shabdas can apply to one Artha. Therefore, Artha, the entity, does not determine what the Shabda is, and Shabda does not necessarily entertain. We just shoot exceptions. Usually what you say is alright, Ghata, Pata, etc. But then there is no rule. And when you show exception, then you do wonder whether this conclusion is right or not. First you shake up that conclusion is so, so determined and so deeply rooted. You have to shake it up. Look, this conclusion does not necessarily apply everywhere. There are cases like this where they do not. So now, what you are thinking also can be a case. We have to examine that. You follow? So this is how what is deeply rooted conclusions have to be analyzed by showing that this conclusion doesn't apply everywhere. Nahi tatra pratiyogi upadiveda vyatirikena vastuveda vidyate. So what this person is called uncle and brother and father and son is only different standpoints. So these words are used for the same person. Upadiveda means the standpoints. This fellow is Upadi's son, so he is called father. The Upadi wife, so he is called husband. Upadi called nephew, so he is called uncle. Therefore, Upadi Vedat. So Upadi Vedat, Apunarakta Shabda Vedarsanat. Apunarakta Shabda Vedarsanam. That this Pita, Bhrata, Matula, Jamata, Pitra, Apunarakta Shabda, they are all different words. We find use of all these different words not because they mean different things, but because they are the words from the different standpoints. So different standpoints can describe one thing in many ways, and different standpoints also can have one different meaning for one word also. Or different words can have one meaning and one word can have different meanings. So that word means this meaning, there is no rule. A given word means a given meaning, there is no rule. That means that the word determines what the meaning is, that's not the rule. Or meaning determines what the word is, not the rule. This is meaning, person is meaning, that means one word. And this word, sarpa, etc., means one meaning, that also because it means Rajju, in fact. So at the Aropita level also this can happen. So we are pointing out that there is an Aropita level also where this rule does not apply. Where there is a fundamental level, this rules applies. But there is a level which is Aropita. So now what do you think fundamental is Aropita or not? That's what we have to now examine. What is taken for granted as real, as gata, pata, matha. And so they are different. Now we have to see whether they are real or not. But they are also Aropita. So this is how, this is inquiry into the reality of things. Therefore, now, तथा च अनादि अविद्या कल्पित अनेक उपाधि भेद वशात उपाधिवत उपाधि भेद अवच्छिन्न अनेक कर्तरादि कारक भेद अनुवादेन ज्ञान अपेक्षित अंतःकरण शुद्धि साधन कर्म विधि परत्वात् कर्मकांडस्य सो कर्मकांडस्य कर्म विधि परत्वात् एक कर्मकांड. So what's the main vakya in karma vithi? Yaja, you worship this devata, worship that devata, perform this yaga. Brahmano yajeta. So this is karma kanda. This is one vakya. What is karma kanda? Karma vidhi paratvat. So karma kanda is devoted to, or main theme is enjoining karma. Looks different from jnana, isn't it? Now, what is this karma? Jnana apekshita antakarana shuddhi sadhana karma. That karma also can become sadhana. Means, for what antakarana shuddhi? So karma vidhi is there is enjoyment of karma, of which the purpose can be antakarana shuddhi. Now this is something new that nobody, these karma kandis did not know. That karma can have a purpose other than accomplishing some material goal. So karma kandis, they all, mimamsakas have always supposed and taken for granted that karma is a means of accomplish something in this world or the other world. Vedanta says karma can also have the purpose of antakarana shuddhi. What's the purpose of that? Jnana apekshita. Antakarana shuddhi, that is apekshita. That is required, expected for jnana. So self-knowledge requires a given state of mind, shuddha antahkaranam, and karma can serve the purpose of that also. And therefore the enjoyment of karma that we find in karma kanda can have this purpose to serve the purpose of jnana. Now then there are two vakyas. When sadhana sadhya sambandha is there. So what is karma? Now karma vidhi paratva. The karma vidhi, how does it come? Karma requires kartradi karaka bheda. Karma requires many bheda, many different entities. Karaka. Karta is one karaka. Karma is different karaka. Karanam third karaka. To perform the karma, even to perform the act of speaking, the speaker, the organ of speaking, the words spoken, words are the karma, organ is the karanam, speaker is karta. And they are all different from each other. That karta is one entity, karma is a different entity, shabda is a third entity, vag, indriya is a different entity. Is it not so? What is it? Kartradi karga bheda. So they are all different. So kartradi karga bheda anuvadena. When the karma is enjoined, it presupposes that these different entities must be there. To perform Agnihotradi karma, there must be a person, the Yajamana must be there, and the Ruchi must be there, and then all these materials must be there, Agni. So, Brahma, Havi, etc. All different must be there. They are called Karakas. And they have to be different from each other. The only karma can be performed. I can't perform karma on myself. I can't offer a thing to myself, offer it to fire. Must be different. So that bheda is karaka, bheda, anuvada. So, but when karma is enjoined, then this bheda is accepted. How can you perform karma? When karma kanda enjoins karma, it presupposes that karta is different, karma is different, karanam is different. How do you say that therefore there is only one thing there? Says, upadi avachinna aneka. So what is the difference in karta, karma, karanam, kriya, phala? They are different at one point. Where is the difference? Vedanta, difference only in the costume. Is one entity appearing as karta and karana and karma. We examine exactly swarupada, what are they? You find that all of them are only Brahma, Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavi, Brahmagno, Brahmanahutam. Then why does Veda doesn't tell you right away? They don't tell you right away. Because this duality is so deeply rooted in your mind. How to function in duality so that you grow out of duality. And therefore, when the mother teaches the child, then you know what the child is and then you start from there. Beta, bring the block number 4. This one? No. That one? No. This one? Yes. Oh, this is called 4. So you start from where the entity is. Not what it should be, what it is. Therefore, karma Vedas start from where this person is. For that person, karma is different, karta is different, karanam is different. So accept that. And then let him use this duality in a manner that he grows out of duality. So teach him how to function in duality. It's called vyavhara. So all the values come, all attitudes come. That for the time being giving reality to vyavhara. Otherwise value. The people throw away this. What nonsense you're talking about, Swamiji? Where are values? It's all non-dual. It is true. But where we are, where the dual is still deeply rooted, then we need to learn to function in duality in such a manner that slowly we grow out of duality. There is a way of functioning that duality can be more and more deeply rooted. That's called samsara. The way to function in life, that life becomes more miserable or more divided and etc. That is one way of functioning. More conflicting, one way of functioning. Or resolving those, another way of functioning. There is an aspect in me which wants to hold on, create conflict, hold on to it. But I can also invoke from me an aspect that wants to get out of that. Both are there. Which one should you invoke? What is? Veda says that is real. That which wants to go out of is a real reality about you. Not the one who wants to hold on to that. So that is why Kshama, Daya, they become the values, because that's the reality about you. not conflicting. So that's how Karmakanda also, that for the moment accepts the apparent duality for which this is real for this person. Anuvadena. So by reiterating that duality, he teaches him, do it this way and that way. So he is trained to slowly grow out of it. His antakarana becomes Shuddha. He himself discovers. Slowly and slowly you realize that this is not solid, this is not tangible, this is not important. If you are not important, let's call Vairagya. Anyway, so this is how Anadi Avidya Kalpita. Why this is Anadi Avidya Kalpita? All these differences in the Vyavahara are projected by the ignorance which is uncaused. So you can't trace it to anybody, you have to start from there. You start tracing these can of worms, You go to therapy and start tracing this, and then your mother is like, her mother, it all goes back and forth, endless. You try to give reality to this first of all, and then try to trace, you cannot. Anyway, but therefore, Anadi, Avidya, Kalpita, Aneka, Upadiveda, Avachinna. Look at this, the clarity that the Vedantin has, that yes, there is duality at some level. And we learn how to function in that duality, that's what Veda teaches. In Karmakanda, Veda teaches how to function in the duality. Antaka Shuddhi Sadhana, that the karma becomes sadhanam, means of Antaka Shuddhi. Why do we need Jnana Apekshita? Because Jnana calls for Antaka Shuddhi. Therefore, Karmakandasya Atmattva Jnana Vakya Vakyatu Upatte. So if you look at Karmakanda in this way, if you look at Karmakanda as an entity prescribing karma for you to attain different ends, then it's one thing. Look at Karmakanda, then enjoy all vidhis are meant for Antakarana Shuddhi to prepare you for Jnanam. So then Karmakandasya Atma Tattva Jnana Vakya Eka Vakya Upatte. So Atma Tattva Jnana Vakya is one. You are Brahman. And do this and do that is another one. So that vidhi also becomes a means of ultimately gaining and all that. Eka Vakya Upatte. Ekam Sankyam Cha Yogam Yah Pashyati Pashyati. Yat Sankhe Yat Prapyate Sthanam Tad Yoger Vigamyate. Ekam Sankyam Cha Yogam Cha. How Bhashyakara interprets, people revolt all these interpretations, So Bhashyakara used his intellect to ramrod, his view. But if this is where we are coming from, Sankhya or Jnanam and Karma Yoga cannot be two different things. One text cannot teach two different, it is one text. Because the one soul is standing in front of you, sitting. Because the whole Gita is talked to one person. You follow? Therefore, if this is taught to him, if there are different fellows to whom different aspects are addressed, then they can have different vakyatas, different themes. One Arjuna is there, not many. And one Lord Krishna is teaching, and one Gita. So you can't say Gita is teaching many things, but then what will Arjuna do? What lesson will he get from that? This for him to determine what to do. Karishye Vachanam. Now he has to come to understanding like this, which is one understanding. Oh yes, so you said this also, and said that also, and said this also. Because there is one listener, one moksha, one speaker, and one text. So there must be therefore consistency. This is where Bhashyakar comes from, by the way. So how to interpret what is given to you? You take this, the words are different, therefore meanings are different. So you arrive at different meaning that there are 4 paths because words are different. Or you arrive at one, what a human being needs. So that's what he said here. Ekavakya. So that when you look at this karma kanda, jnana kanda, this ekavakya, that they convey the same thing, upapatte, is reasonable to understand that, arrive at that conclusion. So what is jnana vakya? Nirdeshaya, ananda, atyantiga, dukkham dukkha nivritti, phalasya. What every human, sarvesham, swarasata, abhilasha gocharasya. Now we come to more fundamental thing. Sarvesham swarasatah abhilasha gocharasya. Sarvesham, all the human beings. Swarasatah, by nature. All human beings by nature want one thing. Now this is also an understanding of what human being wants. If you think different human beings are different things, then they have different means. But this understanding or this view that all human beings are seeking the same thing. What is that thing? Atyantika dukkha nivritti. Human being simply wants freedom forever from all dukkha. Niratisha ananda avapti, attainment of the unsurpassable happiness. That's what every human, that this is now understanding a human being. What does he want? Human being. Is a man, woman, good, bad, indifferent, whoever he is. Everybody just wants to be free from sorrow and wants to be established in happiness. That simple thing they want. This Swarga, etc., nobody, then they think that this is in Swarga, then he will want Swarga. You may want something because you think that's what it is. Basically what you want is Nirityanandavapta. So, Atyan Dukha Nivritti, Nirityanandavapta. Swarataha, Swarasaha, Swasarasataha, Abhilasha Gocharasya. Abhilasha. What is desired by everybody, every human being, naturally is this. And how can you attain that goal? That goal of unsurpassable happiness and the elimination of unhappiness once and for all. Atma tattva jnana anyataha sambhavat. Not possible without the Atma tattva, because none of them is attainable. The limitless happiness cannot be attained, and elimination of unhappiness forever cannot, because every effort also involves unhappiness, No, every effort involves some exertion and pain, so dukkha is involved. So karma cannot be the means of eliminating dukkha forever. And therefore karma cannot be means of attaining all sukha, because karma involves dukkha. Sarvaramaya doshana dhuvenagnirevarutaha. Just as smoke is involved in every fire, so therefore dosha is involved. No karma can be involved. You will hurt somebody by doing something. That cannot be karma. Nobody can do anything. There is Lord Krishna or Buddha or Mahatma, anybody. Whatever you do, somebody is affected, somebody is hurt. No karma can be in vyavahara, there is no total non-violence. Therefore karma cannot accomplish cessation of unhappiness forever, or attainment of total. Karma is nature being what it is. Therefore, atma tat jnanat anyata sambhavat. It must be already existing, and it is waiting for you to know. Other than that, this goal that human being seeking is not possible to be attained. Avidyavastha upadi bhedena adhikari bheda prayoga bhedayocha upatte. But the fellow performing karma kanda is different from the fellow pursuing knowledge. Two different adhikaris are there. See, you arrive at two different texts because Anubandha Chatushtaya is different. The person performing karma is different from the person pursuing jnanam. So adhikaris are different. How can both of them have the same theme? But that adhikari is different, but person can be the same. How? Avidya avastha upadi bhedena. Or avidya avastha. Avidyavad avastha. Avidyavad avastha. That the footnote also says the meaning. Vidya avastha is what? Vidya doesn't have avastha. So meaning that there is avidya avastha in terms of the antakarana shuddhi. That karma kanda has an adhikari who not only is avidya but also the product of avidya, namely ashuddhi. That one person then, that avidya shuddhi becomes free and now becomes only possessor of avidya, then he goes to jnana kanda. So the adhikari of karma kanda, jnana kanda has only to eliminate avidya. The following same person in karma kanda has to avidya will be eliminated, but what avidya has created avastha, namely ashuddhi, etc., has to be also eliminated. So one person has two states. One is a state called ignorance, other is a state that the ignorance created products in terms of the all complexes. So therefore adhikaris are different. So adhikari bheda prayoga bheda. So adhikari bheda is prayoga bheda. Adhikari of jnanam is one, and the one prayoga, pursuit of knowledge. Adhiva karma is different, but different process karma. Bheda, so bheda, this can be upapatte. Adhikari or bheda can be also explained. The adhikari bheda prayoga, the prayoga, the process also can be explained. That karma kanda is one process applicable to one adhikari who needs to do this kind of work. Same fellow, when he graduates from here, then becomes adhikari for jnana kanda, for whom there is a different process. Upapatte. Because if ekavakyata is there, it should be one person. There cannot be two persons that karma kanda is one person. Jnana kanda is a different person, cannot be one person. But the process that even different, it can be. The same person in different states. He is adhikari for this today, then adhikari for that tomorrow. Upapatte, that also is reasonable. Eka purusha, apekshita, eka paramapurushartha, eka sadhana, prakashakatvena, eka vakyata, vedasya yukta iti bhava. Therefore, eka purusha, apekshita, eka paramapurushartha. One person, ignorant, what a miserable Arjuna, starts with Vishada. But he is apeksha is only one. That is paramapurushartha. Nobody wants less than that. So, and therefore, is one person alone, it doesn't matter in what state he is, whether he is miserable or he is happy, what it is. Eka purusha apekshita, eka paramapurushartha, eka sadhana. Person is one, goal is one, sadhana also is one, namely knowledge. Prakashatvena, that's what Veda reveals. One means self-knowledge for one person who has one goal. Ekavakyada vedasya yukta, therefore Veda has one vakya, namely communicating jnanam. And karma is the process which is for preparation of jnanam. That the whole Vedas can be looked upon as one consistent text. And therefore you subject the child to study of Veda. Then he will grow as the Veda teaches. And come to a point when now he is ready for other kind of initiation of Brahma Vidya. Iti bhava. Evam dvaitasya. Alright, so now we'll continue tomorrow. So, therefore, ekavakyata vedasya yukta. Veda is one text. So that Ekavakyata was the identity of Jiva and Brahma. That one interpretation. Ekavakyata is that one theme of Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda is the other interpretation of this verse. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeri Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.